Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us.
Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on us.
Be silent and come out of him. Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit. The unclean spirit came out of him with a loud voice. There are so many loud voices in our culture. In the social media and blogging world, there is constant chatter 24/7. I sometimes randomly read the comments section of news media posts. I'm amazed at the hurtful comments people say to complete strangers. And as I read social media posts and comments, I often sense the spiritual pain that these comments reveal. In the blogging world, all have the same, or so it seems to be, the same egalitarian privilege to be heard. The social media democratization of information makes it a challenge to find the content gems that enhance our lives and our spirits. Social media democratization misleads you and me to think that all have the same voice and all are equally heard. As many that are on Facebook, though, many more are not. Some people throughout the world and even in our nation lack technological access. In the second reading, we heard the way knowledge puffs us up, whereas love builds up. Our privilege to post to Facebook and any other platform on social media gives us all power to speak and to be heard, at least by our few friends. Sometimes the privilege to speak can be a good thing, and at other times it can be destructive. It's so very easy for us to believe that everything we say has equal value. It's tempting to be influenced by the culture of Facebook likes and who comments and who does not comment to our posts. With many Facebook likes and an increasing number of Facebook friends, it's possible for us to know something of the way and the risk that knowledge puffs us up. Over the next 18 months, I'm discerning if I will stay with or leave Facebook. You might say that's a long time to decide. You're usually a little quicker, Joe. But there's information posted to Facebook that can only be found on Facebook. At the same time, the constant noise and distractions on Facebook cost me some spiritual energy that might be better channeled. As an alternative to the noise of our social media, television, and other communication vehicles, I'm increasingly fed by communities where people really come to know each other through shared story and prayer, much as I've discovered in this congregation. A friend this week said he took a 1-month retreat from Facebook. He was amazed at the amount of time he had in his day as a luxury of available time. It really took him by surprise. As much as he enjoyed the extra time and found he was more productive, he returned to Facebook. He returned because his sons and daughters post pictures of his grandkids, and he doesn't want to miss that content. My friend admitted to me that with the desire to see that content comes his necessary willingness to see all the other content. He admits that it takes spiritual energy to function with a reading filter to take in what brings him joy and to ignore content that inflames, angers, and diminishes his feeling of love and being loved. I'm conducting a little experiment on a highly populated Facebook group that I manage through the observation of the impact of long periods of silence without any posts. As a spiritual director, I'm constantly hearing from directees how difficult it is to be silent in prayer. Silence in prayer and other parts of our lives often yields anxiety and the urge that we should be doing something. We are a highly active and productive culture where long periods of silence are both rare and produce discomfort. I'm sure many, if not most, of you remember the popular song by Simon and Garfunkel, Sounds of Silence. Listen to the words of two stanzas. I almost asked Tom this morning to sing this, but I completed my sermon late last night, and I didn't want to fling it on him with only minutes to go before the service. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains with the sound of silence. And later in the song, the words continue. Fools said, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words like silence, raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence. My friend, Bill, an Episcopal priest in the Diocese of New York, shared on his Facebook page yesterday morning that he was called at 4:15 a.m. the previous night to be with a dying parishioner in a local hospital. Most priests have been on a few such calls throughout their ordained ministry. Those early morning calls bring priests to face with their ministry and what is truly important. And it's not only priests, but lay members like you who get up early to drive a parishioner to the hospital for tests or day surgery. The priest's early morning call to minister at the bedside of a dying parishioner is often a ministry of silence. The priest anoints the parishioner, says a few prayers, and for the most part just stands quietly at the bedside with family and sometimes only with the person as they take their last breaths. Many of Bill's friends immediately affirmed his willingness to go to his parishioner's bedside at 4:15, at such an early hour when all the world, all that would be, is silence. Only prayers. How unproductive was the underneath message. Silence is such a gift in a world of constant noise and empty distractions. So I wanted to know what the scriptures say about silence. I did a little research, and I want to share with you a couple of quotes. You know them all, I know, but they're good reminders. The beautiful words from Psalm 46, "Be still and know that I am God." Lamentations, "It is good that one waits silently for the Lord." Psalm 141. I love this. "Set a guard, O Lord. Keep watch over the door of my lips." Proverbs. "A fool gives full vent to his spirit. The wise one quietly holds it back." Job. "They listened to me and waited and kept silence for my counsel." And finally, Romans. "Faith comes from hearing." What if we all, you and I, kept these verses on a card next to our computers where we check Facebook and other social media? Perhaps we could take one of these quotes and pin it to our mobile devices so the words of the Spirit might slow us down. Collectively, these verses offer much wisdom to all of us in a culture where to speak is praised and to be silent causes anxiety. The gospel calls each of us to discern the spirits we hear every day. The loud voice was the unclean spirit that Jesus ordered to be silent and to come out. There are many challenges when it comes to the discernment of spirits and voices. And clearly, not all loud voices are unclean spirits that need to be silenced. Oh, if it would be that easy. At the same time, we must make every effort to become spiritually centered so that we are not merely swayed by the loud voices of our culture and communities. When we are spiritually centered, we train our ears to hear the still small voices that communicate love, life, and spirit. What I find most powerful about today's gospel is the way Jesus was spiritually centered enough to not be distracted by the man who yelled at him and all the commotion associated with today's text. It is easy for us to reflect Jesus' calmness and centeredness when all is calm and quiet. Our spiritual formation, though, is tested by the ways we act when we are like Jesus, in the middle of commotion and loud, distracting noise. We will be far less swayed by the loud noises and commotion if we are spiritually free. Our noisy world offers all of us lots of occasions to practice our capacity for spiritual freedom. Our spiritual freedom increases when we are very clear about who we are and what nurtures us. Our purpose and identity as Christians, I've said it before, is to know, love, and serve God. All our encounters with each other are best weighed by asking if we are growing in knowledge, love, and service of God. And so, if, for example, Facebook helps us to better know, love, and serve God, then our time on Facebook is well spent. But if Facebook impedes us from growing in the knowledge, love, and service of God, then we should spend less time and even consider terminating our accounts. All the ways we spend our time may be assessed in just the same way too. God bless you.